Farr's been boxing beautifully. Jabbing, countering. He said he wasn't afraid of the bomber, and so far he's proving it.
He was one of the greatest boxing heroes the world has ever seen. Now, Tommy Farr's life story is being made into a musical.
Yankee Stadium, New York. Joe Louis, the new world's heavyweight champion, meets Tommy Farr, popular challenger from Wales, in a 15-round bout for the title.
It was a glorious moment in Welsh boxing history, a moment that Tommy Farr had longed for. Realistically, nobody gave the boy from Tonypandy a hope in hell.
As the fight progressed, you know, everybody was getting excited because Tommy's name was being mentioned every so often.
I remember there was being full neighbours, and we had a little Marconi wireless, that's all we had in the day.
Took some terrific punches of Joe, and Joe was knocking him out, but Tommy bounced back, never went down. Tommy bounced back. Oh, it was a terrific fight.
Farr lost on points to Lewis, but became a boxing legend. Years earlier, he'd escaped the Ronda and a life below ground. He even walked to London to realise his dream. He failed. Eventually, Tommy Farr would become British champion. Swansea musician Mal Pope has less than 6 months to bring this story to the stage.
This is Railway Terrace where Tommy was born, and to think that he went from here to Yankee Stadium, 40,000 people there, you know, cheering him on, really, millions listening across the world, and the story's almost forgotten.
When he was in training for a fight, you couldn't talk to him. You know, he'd snap your head off because he was so dedicated, and he had no qualms about pushing anybody aside, you know, to get where he wanted to go.
Tommy never used to train enough for my grandfather's liking. So most of his sparring and training was down the garden, him and my father.
Really?
And he was a little bit cocky. His father would say, "You're going to get beat tonight, and I hope they knock some sense." And he'd go through the door cocky, "Don't worry, father, I'll win." And he did.
In the musical, whoever plays Tommy Farr will need to make a convincing boxer. Comedian Mike Doyle is relishing the challenge. Luckily, he'll be trained in Swansea by Mario Macronelli, father of world cruiserweight champion Enzo Macronelli.
I just want to make sure I look the part, or that's what I ask you, is to, if you can really
Tommy
help
Farr,
me.
he had a very good jab. You know,
Yeah.
bang! Very, very good jab. He was a very good boxer. He was a pretty good puncher, but he was a better boxer than he was a puncher.
Yeah, that's
why he
interesting,
nearly,
yeah.
that's why he nearly beat Joe Louis, isn't it?
Yeah.
People do see Mike as a comic, but his background is he's a great singer for a start, full stop. He's played the West End, he's played the Big Bopper in the West End, he's done lots of touring productions, you know, he's a born performer. We are asking a lot of Mike in the role of Tommy Farr because it's the whole of Tommy Farr's life, from being, you know, 20s through until 40s. I mean, the 40s he's got no problem with, but he's got to look the part.
Really, bang, one. Come on, get a good jab.
Okay. Will I make a convincing boxer? I sincerely hope so. I'm going to put all the hard work in I possibly can.
That's it.
Obviously, I'm not going to be as fighting fit as a real boxer, but I'll do my very, very best. I've got to sing on top of all this. I've got to move and act.
That's it.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
With so many twists and turns to Tommy's story, Mal has to get the feel for the man and his motivation before handing over to director Michael Bogdanov.
Now I've got the opening scene, gladiatorial, people are on the radios, it's the last minute of the fight, and it finishes on the waiting for the result, that we don't know what the result is. And I've heard the commentary, I know what the commentary sounds like. And in a way, although I haven't written the music yet, I know what the music should sound like. It should sound big, it should sound dark, and it should sound quite triumphant in a sort of... So I think there'll be trumpets, maybe thunder and lightning, because the fight was actually postponed a night. So maybe some sound effects just to try and get that sort of hot August night sort of feel to it. And at the end of the first half, it'll be very similar. It'll be the same piece of music, the same commentary, but there'll be a different outcome. We'll actually know what happened at the end of the fight.
Just like his character, Mike knows it's going to take some blood, sweat and tears if he's going to make a convincing Tommy Farr.
That time. Hard. You don't realise how hard it is. Okay? Sit down. Huh? Hey, you sit down a bit. Yeah. I tell you, he's a quick learner. Very, very quick learner. He's a wonderful man to talk to. And if he won't like that, he'll be having him fighting for me.
There's steam coming off my hands. Oh boy. Oh me. What have I done? Hey.
Tommy Farr retired in 1940, virtually a millionaire. 10 years later, he was bankrupt and back in the ring. Mal wants a song that'll tell that story.
It's part of a process of trial and error at the moment to make sure I get the right piece of music that I want to work with, and then just try and, because it just might need a little bit of change in here with the piano part so that they do all mix together, and it could be completely the wrong track. So until I get to the end of it, I'm not going to know whether it's right or not. And then of course when we get into the rehearsal period, it might not be right at all. So it's got to be something dramatic, because this is the Rocky moment, you know. This is when he's fighting, you know, for the championship, and it's his last chance, and there's got to be a lot of emotion. There's got to be failure at the beginning, then there's got to be a slow climax to this moment where hopefully the crowd will be on their feet and cheering him on, and he wins. That's today's task.
It's the hardest thing I've ever done in my whole life. It really is. And it's, we'll start off joking and I'm messing about, and you know, you watch the Rocky films and you go to bed dreaming that you can do it. And I'm going to bed dreaming that I'm going to mess it up, possibly. It's really, really hard.
When you box and you're watching their eyes, you don't look at his feet or your hand.
No.
You know all the movement, watching his face. That's where the movement is. Just a bit faster, go on.
Okay.
There, go on. Left hand, left hand, left hand, left hand, right hand, left right. That's exactly the same you do there.
That seems to be moving.
Yeah, but because if you do it, bam, bam, you can do shut your eyes and you do bam, bam.
It's coordination, man.
Yeah, but slowly. They took 1,000 years to do Rome.
Yeah, we've only got 2 weeks.
This morning Michael Bogdan has rung me, and the Grand are worried about ticket sales. I mean, we're in 8 or 9 weeks to go, and so it's starting to cause a bit of a shadow over the production. It actually does throw it into jeopardy a bit, because they're thinking, well, is the time right for a boxing musical in Wales? So we're just trying to deal with that. I mean, at one stage this morning the show was off, so that was a bit of a nightmare and a bit of a shock. I think we've hopefully redeemed the situation, but it means that the guarantee we're going to get from them is going to be smaller, which means that we might have to trim back on the band and on the number of people in the cast. And it's actually sapping me of energy, because what I really want to do is work on the characters. You know, I'm getting ideas back from Bogdanov to see areas he wants me to strengthen, which is great. So I'm writing new songs. I mean, I've written a new song already, one new song this week. But, you know, it's all very well doing that. If we haven't got a show to put on at the end of the day, it's going to be all wasted effort. I suppose, in Tommy Farr terms, you know, I'm on the ropes.
Until there's further news, the training must go on, and Mike is having a tough talking to by Mario's world champion son.
a stare is a lot through your opponent. Do you know what I mean? It's to show your opponent you've got no fear. And when you actually punch, you obviously, my dad said when he was on a pad, you turn your head quite a bit.
Yeah.
If you turn your head quite a bit and someone's punching you, you can't see him coming, so you've got no chance of blocking. So the stare, they say keep your eyes on the opponent. Keep your eyes on the opponent. You seem to know what they're going to do to a certain extent.
But there's all this twitching stuff, you know. It's like when I was watching you work the bag there, and although it's a bag and the bag don't punch back, but like the bag is swinging and everything. But there's these little twitches.
They call feints. We throw feints. Obviously, me being a hard puncher, everyone locks out for my punches. So basically, you've got to throw a couple of feints. It's like you confuse the opponent's mind. A boxer is perceived as not a very intelligent guy, and that is a world. But it is. That is a world opinion, not an intelligent guy. But if you had to work the amount of brain cells you had to use to click, to throw a jab, to block a jab in one motion, it's unbelievable. So what these feints do, they throw an opponent off. You know what I mean? Like you throw a jab, twitch with their hand, but I not for the right hand. They're expecting a left, but I throw a right. I can do the same. I can twitch with the right and throw the left. It's all about confusing, like a chess game. Confuse your opponent.
Bend down.
Over the last few weeks, Mike's thrown himself into his training. But to give a knockout performance, he'll also have to get to grips with the songs.
And this sort of comes now, you know, after he's had the falling out with Joby. He's been to the boxing booths, and he says, "I'm going to make it on my own." So it's the London song, and obviously he goes there with lots of hope, because he thinks he's the greatest thing since sliced bread.
Yeah. So he's in for a big shock when he gets to London, or
that's the idea. And I want to get that sort of Jeeves and Worcester. So it's it's like it's the 20s in London.
Yeah, okay.
And he thinks he's the
yeah, that is the feel. It's
He goes, "London, here I am. You better get ready for the boy from Tonopandi." So there's all this sort of thing going on, and I've got to write the next bit. You know, so he's just building it up as he's walking around. He's full of bravado. So he's telling them how great he is, and they all turn around and they go, "We don't need another boxer. Kids like you round here are to a penny. Every door you'll find is locked, sir. Kids round here are to a penny. Give me a chance. Oh no," I said, "give me a chance. No home. We don't need another boxer. You better get out of here." So he's taking a bit of a knock to his confidence. It's going up a little bit. He's getting a bit more desperate. Another boxer.
You really feel for Tommy there, though.
Yeah.
Really feel for him. I mean, he's obviously gone, Tonopandi to London. You know, he obviously thinks, I can do it. I'll show everybody back home. Is this where we're coming from?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
that's exactly
he's up there with the big boys in London, and
yeah, nobody gives a monkeys.
No.
It's the first day of rehearsals, and the first time for the actors of the Wales Theatre Company to see the script. They've got just over a month to get it right before opening night at the Swansea Grand Theatre. It's a chance for Mal to see all his hard work brought to life, but he'll also be writing and rewriting up until the last minute. For Mike, it's time to raise his game.
It's become very real this morning. So I'm so glad I've put time into the training before today, because I'd hate to be in a position today, say, right, the first day of school, we're now going to do this, because we are going to do some boxing later on this afternoon, so I'm quite looking forward to that, because I now know what I'm going to, as it were. Apart from...
Artistic director Michael Bogdanov is also aware of the challenge ahead.
Mike has already been working out with... I think the main problem with any piece of theatre that's to do with boxing is that there's no crossover audience. I mean, theatre people don't tend to go to boxing, and boxing people don't tend to go to theatre. And it's like any piece that's to do with sport. It's of more interest often to the people who engage in that sport rather than a much more general thing.